Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. It's been a weekend where there was sympathy for the devil as Man United made it 4 wins from 4 under Van Nistelrooy. Manchester City, however, just can't get no satisfaction. Angie gifted another Premier League team their first win of the season, all whilst Newcastle United painted Nottingham black and white. That one's probably the easiest intro ever if you're any sort of music fan. But yes, it's Wildcard Wednesday with a themed intro. And I'm joined by 2 fantastic guests. We have the judge and jury herself, Jo. Are you okay, Jo?
I'm all good. Yeah, I'm cool. How are you, Kev?
I'm very, very good. And we have a man who's been out of town for a while. A cowboy who was once called Quick Draw Iain is now just called Dusty Iain. How you doing, Iain?
I'm doing great. I've got something else to think about. What on earth are you talking about, Kev?
Well, perfect. It's all kind of going to be American based this week because there was some big news in America very recently. I'm not going to mention his name on the podcast because I have no idea if we're allowed to share political opinions. But there was a big day in America. So that's why you're a cowboy and Jo is judge and jury. So in part 1, this bit is the only part of the show which is not Americanized. Everything after that is has a very loose connection to America. Part 1, before you went away, Iain, and left the country, there was quite a bit of negativity around Newcastle, right? We weren't doing according to some people, we weren't doing so well, right? And I was very harsh on them people. The people who said, well, what if we didn't win this one? Or what if we would have lost to them? And it's all rubbish. It's ifs and buts. However, Iain left the country and we beat Chelsea, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest away, and we're now 1 point off third. So if Iain, he's back in the country, if we don't win against West Ham, then Ian's got to leave the country again. So what we're going to do is...
I'm sorry to interject there. I was actually at the Chelsea match that we won. And I did get to watch the Arsenal game at Saturday lunchtime before I went last Sunday. So I only missed the Forest match. I have watched a full replay of it from my Newcastle United app.
I'm still blaming Iain because I'm clinging on to something.
We're all happy.
We are all happy. Clearly all happy. So, however, them naysayers who aren't happy, Iain, around Newcastle, so it's like some Newcastle fans are unhappy that we've won these games. So I'm going to give them a little bit of attention here. And I'm going to ask for the 3 players. I feel like it's a good time to do this because we're at another goddamn international break. How many of these is there ever going to be? We're at another international break. It's a good time to just have a little bit of a review. So I'm going to ask for 3 players from each of us, and then we're going to have to decide on a combined 3 players who we just would be nowhere near top 3 without this season, because I feel like it's been quite a surprising one. The typical Isak and Gordons, although Isak has scored recently, but haven't exactly started the way we expected, and there's been some unsung heroes. So I feel like now is a good time to review that. So we're going to go 3 players each who we feel like without them this season, if we didn't have them this season, we'd be absolutely knackered. We'd be down in 14th, 15th like them naysayers want us to be. So the 3 players we couldn't do without right now. I'm going to go to Jo first because me and Iain are always gentlemen. Ladies first.
We are.
So Jo, the 3 players you feel like we would genuinely just really struggle without in these first 11 games of a season?
I'd like to put it as a struggle, I'll be honest, because I'm also not under the I don't know. I'm nowhere negative, so I don't actually think we would still be down 14th, by the way. So I'm not even as negative as the negative naysayers like you're talking about anyway. But my 3, I've got to go Big Joe, because I think he's just got better and stronger every game, and he's now back on his top form. So he, to me, is almost a bit of an easy pick. As a 3, I've got to give it to Burn. It's going to be my other one.
Ooh,
because
Dan Burning.
You've got to think about how important he's been, and it's gone under the radar a lot because I think so many people focus on how badly we've been doing going forward that we haven't had enough praise about what the guys at the back are doing. And as much as how we all love Cher, and we could bleat on about Cher all the time, as such, I think Burn sometimes then doesn't get the credit because it's like, well, Cher does this, Cher does that. But if I'm honest, I think Burn, to a degree, has been stronger than Cher. Shea hasn't been at the top of his game. He hasn't,
That's
if we're
a bold,
completely
bold
honest.
statement.
It's just honesty. Come on, you know how much we love Shea. That man can do anything he wants in my eyes. But don't go there, Kev.
Can do anything he wants in my
Ian,
eyes.
I knew that was
That's what you said.
I knew that was coming from Ian.
Right. I said,
move on, Joe. Quick.
I'm trying. So Burn anyway, right? It's all about Burn, man. That's what I'm trying to make it. All about Burn anyway. And Lewis Hall. So Lewis Hall, Burn, and Big Joe are my three.
Okay.
Because Lewis Hall has been unreal. Absolutely unreal. So there we go. Move on.
Strong 3. We'll go to Ian's 3. So, and then we'll have a discussion around who we think should be the final 3 in terms of we're going to pick one each, I think. Ian, who are your 3 we just couldn't have done without?
Burn for sure. Wow, he was my first pick.
Both.
He's been fabulous. I mean, I was there when he shackled Haaland, and that was after some pretty poor results, and we were a bit concerned going to watch us play at home against Man City. I mean, we didn't know that we were going to lose the next 4 games. That draw seemed like a great result, but we got that draw because Haaland never got a sniff, and that was Dan Burns' work. I wouldn't pick Joe. I think Joe Linton's brilliant on Sunday. And definitely improving and now back to his best. But he was pretty rank after the Southampton game for 4 or 5 matches. You know, we were discussing whether we ought to be
to a degree.
Whether we ought to be dropped. So I'd have Burn, I'd have Bruno. I think he has maintained standards and now is excellent. And would I pick Hall? I think without Hall, we'd have had Lloyd Kelly, and it probably would have picked up the same points. Although I love Hall, my third man is going to be Nick Pope, because through those dark days, he made some fabulous saves and has won us points on his own. I think this season already.
So
my 3:
Burn, Bruno, and Pope. You think we couldn't have done without? Mine. I feel like I'm miles off it now. I'm going to stick with what I said. I'm not going to copy. My first one was Joe Linton. I know Ian said he did have a bit of a weird time, but the reason I'm saying Joe Linton is he went right wing the last 2 games and looked like he's been playing right wing his whole career. Yeah. He was left wing before that and did a fantastic job where he allowed Gordon to look great on the right. He was central midfield before that and was monumental in the first game of the season, down to 10 men. So for me, he's played 3 or 4. He played left back pretty much against Man City, or left wing back. He has done so much for the team that I just feel like, wow, it's what he's done for us. I feel like without him, without his versatility, would have really struggled. So I put Joe Linton in mine. The second one, I disagree with Joe. I think Fabian Schär. I think the fact that Fabian Schär has stayed fit is massive, because without Sven Botman, I think if Schär gets injured and you've got Burn and Kelly at the back, as much as I think Burn defensively has done excellent, Schär's creativity would be missed so much. I know Kelly looks like he's got a pass on him, but Schär creates so much for us. He's been an ever-present. He's never really let us down other than getting sent off. But you know my feelings on Ben Brereton and Diaz with that. So yeah, Fabian Schär I put in there just because his creativity, he's an ever-present. He doesn't miss games unless it was that one suspension. And my third player, I was tempted to put Eddie Howe in there just to really upset the naysayers, but I'm not going to. I said players, so I'll stick with players. My third player was Bruno, so I've got a little bit of Ian's and Joe's combined there. With Joe Linton and Bruno. I just think Bruno, you look at the statistics about most duels won, most free kicks won, distance covered. Yes, he hasn't been the dazzling Bruno we're kind of used to yet, but it's starting to come, or it seems like it's starting to come in the last couple of games. But he has just been an absolute warrior, an animal, and I feel like it's been massive when things haven't been going well to have that mentality to just turn a game around. So my 3 were Bruno, Schär, and Joe Linton. Ian?
Mm-hmm. Just on Bruno, I know before we had this little turnaround, we were talking about how 2-dimensional our midfield was, and it all played the same way, and we weren't penetrative in any way, shape or form. However, I noticed on the weekend, Bruno with 8 is the number one midfield player to play a forward pass into the box.
Wow, fair
Top
play.
of the league. So, I think Bruno's been wonderful. I wonder if were we picking unsung heroes though? Because I think Bruno's quite
That's
well.
what I was
think it
leaning
was
towards.
well
I've got to be
sung.
honest.
I
That's
think
where
it was
mine
just
was.
it was just 3 players we couldn't have done without at the start of the season, because obviously there was a lot of
Right.
players getting, in my opinion, well, not unfair. I think it's fair to criticise some players, but there were some players like Bruno who have done a lot for us who were getting unfairly criticised at points this season.
Mhm.
So it was just
Yeah.
any 3 players we feel like we couldn't have done without. Because let's be honest, we're 1 point off third. So again, that is crazy when you think of how doom and gloom it was like a week ago, just over a week ago. So we need to now agree on 3 we're going to put in as the daily Newcastle 3
Well, we've
players
all
we
picked
couldn't
2,
live
haven't we,
without.
really? Byrne got 2 votes, Joe Linton got 2 votes, and Bruno got 2 votes. So the easy
So-
thing would be that it's those 3.
Wow, so we are going Byrne, Joe Linton and Bruno. Do you agree with that, Ian, or do you want to make a strong case for anybody else?
I think it's if we're looking at unsung heroes,
Longstaff?
I think
One that's the obvious one, isn't it?
I never even thought of Sean Longstaff, but you're right. I was going to say Pope is always an unsung hero, and we just take for
Just
granted
so
how
bad
good
with
he
his feet,
is.
isn't he?
He is,
He's just so
He's like
bad with his
50-50,
feet.
but it's not. It's not. It's 5% of the game. This is what I can't understand.
But he can keep the ball and play with a kick, surely. He just panics and boots it out of play. Like I don't want to be one of them fans. I quite like Nick Pope, but he's so bad with his feet, I can't put him in any top list because I don't understand how
Okay.
the guy's played football for years of his career, plays football every day of his life, and can't even just boot it over the top of a defence. He has to boot it out of play, so that bugs the life out of me. But yeah, I'm being positive. What am I doing? I think I was going to make a shout for Lewis Hall. Joe mentioned him, and I thought, you know what, that's a fantastic shout because he has done brilliant. He has got a call up for England. So maybe I was harsh not putting him in, but when I'm just thinking out of the 3, who would I bring out? Maybe Fabian Schär. But yeah, it's a tough. Are we just going to go with the ones with the most votes and leave it as a democracy, Joe?
Makes sense, doesn't it?
So Bruno.
I'm happy to go with that.
Bruno, Joe Linton, and Byrne.
Let's do what America did and pick the most popular.
Oh, getting it back to America.
Take it straight back to America.
We are going with the 3 most popular, which is Bruno, Joe Linton, and Byrne, the 3 players we couldn't have done without to be in the position.
It's much harder to do it now than it would have been to do it a fortnight ago after the Chelsea League match, for example, because we've got 11 of them that have played fantastic.
Definitely.
So
I just think it's a good time to kind of have that reset now and look at the players we are really happy with in terms of we're about to go into a busy winter schedule, 2 games a week, and we're just kind of having that little bit of a down period during this international break. So that leads us nicely to the end of part 1. Joe, you're going to take us away with our first advert. It needs to be done in an American accent, please.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spend a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner, and the rest is enjoyed. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast, it sounds great, and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
That was absolutely brilliant. I didn't expect you to do that. We didn't talk about that. I didn't give you a heads up. I thought, I'll see if she'll bottle it. And you did not bottle it. Well done, Joe. We actually have quite a nice number of listeners in America, so it'll be interesting to see what they say about Joe's.
They're going to rip me for that, man. I'm gonna...
just lost most of them by doing that, yeah.
Probably really badly.
I did introduce Iain as a cowboy in this one, so fair play.
I'm taking his mantle on all aspects tonight.
Right. Part 2. We're gonna jump on another trend because we jumped on a trend last week and it went down really well in terms of who would we prefer in certain players. This one is the Mount Rushmore. So the Mount Rushmore trend is you pick a Mount Rushmore, the 4 most influential people. Doesn't have to be players, it can be owners, CEOs, managers, it can be anybody. The 4 most influential people who would go on a Newcastle United Mount Rushmore But the catch is, we must have seen him in our lifetime. We can't just chuck in the likes of Jackie Milburn and all of them because none of us have seen them. Not even Iain's that old. So,
My mum saw Jackie Milburn.
We can't just chuck anybody. We have to have been able to see them, and they have to have had a huge impact on our club. Now, I've seen some horrendous ones of these. I've heard Arsenal fans put Andrei Arshavin in because they weren't around to see Thierry Henry. So at least they were following the rules, but I don't get how Arshavin gets in any Arsenal Mount Rushmore. So let's find out who our Newcastle United Mount Rushmores are. I'm going to start with Iain this time. Experience goes first here. Iain has seen a lot more than me and Joe. I'll try not to get too many age jokes in. But Iain, who would make your Mount Rushmore of Newcastle United, the foremost influential people in the club in your lifetime?
Right. I had Jackie Milburn before I knew what the rules were, but I can't pick him. So I'm going to go in age order, if you like. Firstly, Bobby Moncur, captain of the Fairs Cup winning team, scored twice, still 80 plus years old, an ambassador for the club. Secondly, Super Mac, Malcolm MacDonald.
Malcolm MacDonald.
If you saw it, you'll never forget Malcolm MacDonald scoring 5 for England against Cyprus. What a night that was. Fast forward a few decades to get to Sir Bobby Robson, who, I don't know, he wasn't there for ages. He didn't win anything, but he just personified that whole era. And I picked him ahead of King Kev.
Ooh.
Make it, because I'm going to have Alan Shearer as my fourth one. Premier League leading scorer. Most public Newcastle United fan for the last 20 years. So yeah, they're my 5. Keegan could probably go in instead of any of the other 4, of course, but then you're only allowed 4, aren't you?
You can only have 4. Keegan's face is not getting put on the Mount Rushmore. Newcastle United. His face isn't going to be carved in there. Just go through yours again, Iain, before we move on to Joe.
Right, I've gone for Bobby Moncur, Malcolm MacDonald, Sir Bobby Robson, and Alan Shearer. No place for Gaza or Chris Waddle or Peter Beardsley, and I watched all of them in the same team.
In terms of influential, I think you've probably topped almost anybody because Bob Moncur lifting a trophy, Alan Shearer record goal scorer. Robson, in terms of influential, you could argue obviously didn't really win a trophy, but he did give us a lot of hope back after the previous 2 managers took away that hope from Keegan. So you have definitely got influential people in there. That is a very good shout. Joe, who would make your Newcastle United Mount Rushmore?
I've dropped a couple just so that I haven't got too many like Iain, because I was going to have Sir Bobby, but I'll not. Just purely for, just to keep things a bit mixed up. So I have put Keegan down, but obviously as a manager, because I wasn't old enough to see him play. He signed for us the year I was born, but then obviously had finished whatever by the time I was of age to start going to the match, put it that way. So I can't pick that. However, what he did for us as a manager, the memories he brought, especially when I was a teenager, it was a very influential time in my life, if you want to call it that. So I do see it as a massive thing. So Keegan's in mine as his manager, not from being a player. I have put Beardsley in because Beardsley to me is pretty much my all-time favourite Newcastle player. Again, I was very little, I suppose, when I did see him. However, I'm just a massive fan of Beardsley and what he did and stuff that I've now watched back that I didn't see, obviously, in real life. I'm just a huge Beardsley fan, so he's got to be in mine, I think. Shearer, I can't drop him because he is the top scorer and he's our top scorer, so he's just... Come on, it's Shearer, isn't it? It's almost like it's too obvious for Shearer to be in.
And he was loyal in terms of influence. He was so loyal. He
could have went somewhere else, I know, but he didn't. Well. So he wouldn't be everyone's, but I do think he'd be a lot of people's, let's get real. And purely because we are talking influential, I have went not a player or manager here, and I'm putting Amanda Staveley's pretty face up on that mountain. I'm sorry. But without her, we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. I can guarantee it. Or if we were, we wouldn't be sitting here that happy. Just we all be Michael.
Oh, wow.
I know he'll take that as a joke. He's all right, man. He loves it.
Joe's gone there. I mean, that again is very influential. I'll quickly go through mine because I think I've got two the same as that. I've got Amanda Staveley. I was amazed Iain didn't put Staveley in because none of these times now would be happening without her being so persistent after the takeover fell through.
Yep.
And then not just seeing the takeover happen, I know she's not there now, but in terms of them first 2.5 years, bringing in the right players, working overtime, doing about 5 different jobs at once, prioritising women's football to grow, hopefully, the women's side of the game and invite new fans in. I just feel like Amanda Staveley was so influential. We'd still have Mike Ashley now if she didn't have that persistence, I think. So Amanda Staveley is in mine. I'll do kind of age order for the rest of them. Alan Shearer. You said he might not be in everyone's, Joe, but I don't care what people's personal opinion of Alan Shearer is. He's our all-time top goal scorer. He's the top scorer of all time in the Premier League. In terms of influence and putting Newcastle on the map before we had any sort of relative success, he was a huge part of that. He was a world record signing. If you're talking about influence, Alan Shearer, for me, has to be on anybody's.
Hey, I'm with you.
United
but Kev, we know people.
Rushmore.
And people are people.
Don't like him, but
right?
Yeah, we love him.
People are weird, man.
So, I've got Shearer. I've also got Sir Bobby Robson. I completely agree with Iain. I was how old was I when Robson came in? I was about 5, 6. I think I was 6, 7. Obviously, he was like my first team I really fell in love with, and there's so many iconic quotes where he just makes you fall in love with Newcastle. And as a young boy who was clambering up them steps to see the hallowed turf for the first time, as that famous quote goes, I was that boy. I was that person holding on to my dad's hand, walking up the steps. So that quote really gets to me, and just, again, you give us hope. I remember being top of the league in like March and we didn't win it, and we didn't really compete because we fell apart, but I was thinking, oh my God, Newcastle's really good. And yeah, I was in for a world of hurt after he left. So I didn't realize that we weren't actually that good. So Bobby gave me a lot of hope and was massively influential to me. And my last one is not going to surprise people, but it's not also going to go down well with some people. Eddie Howe. Honestly, to take that job, yes, we had unlimited riches at the time because we weren't aware of how bad FFP was going to be or the new rules were going to be. But to take that job with no wins, second bottom of the table, again, no disrespect to these players. We had players like Kieran Clark and Federico Fernandez, who I thought was an okay player, but to take that job and to come in and to get us 11th, and then just the ride we've been on. I was alive when we were in the 90s Cup finals, and I remember watching them on TV, but I actually got to go to one because of Eddie Howe. I actually got to go to a Cup final live in person. I wasn't too young. So, yeah, Eddie Howe makes mine. So mine are Howe, Shearer, Bobby, and Amanda Staveley. We're not going to pick the Newcastle one because we'd be here all night discussing Bob Moncur would probably have to be in. But I feel like we've mentioned some unbelievable names.
Yeah.
Anybody you just want to change or add? I'll go to Iain first.
I'm thinking that I missed Amanda Staveley out. Yeah, I don't know which one of my 4 I would miss off.
I don't know who you pull out.
She's obviously so influential. I think you're a bit early to put Eddie in. I think if Eddie can win a cup or two, then you've got him up there for life. But I think maybe half this team that we've got are getting well on the way to being iconic.
That's
if they can put
point.
an FA Cup, if they can win an FA Cup or a European competition, then these guys who've played, I think it's Shah's got on 199 games. He played 200, 300 games. You could have Shah as an icon. Bruno, of course. Half this team could be iconic if they start picking up silverware.
Good shout.
But
Joe,
Eddie would be top of that list.
Yes, get him in. Get that unbelievable face carved, and just to sneak a fifth on, just have Tyndall behind him in the background. Just to have a fifth on.
Just looking over his shoulder.
He's just peeping around the corner.
They come as a pair.
Joe, are you going to change anybody after hearing other people's in terms of obviously who you've seen?
I mean, to be fair, I was going to have Sir Bobby. So if we literally had sat this down and we had spent the time, and like you say, I know we're not going to chop and change and discuss the last 4,
unfortunately,
but I can
Joe.
100% agree that Sir Bobby would be one of the 4, by the way, because in reality, he 100% would be. So yeah, he would be in there. I was just trying to be a little bit different for discussion reasons.
I think I'll go
Let's
back to
do
what
let's
Ian.
do four. Let's do four. Let's do Amanda Staveley, Alan Shearer, Sir Bobby Robson, and one more. Who's the fourth one?
But this problem,
I mean, I haven't seen him, but it has to be Moncur, doesn't it? He lifted a trophy.
we'll give him. Yeah, exactly. There we go.
I didn't see him,
And
but
he's still. The thing is, he's still involved now. He's been an ambassador for
There we go.
50
That's
years,
the four.
isn't it?
There's our four. Done. Easy.
Look at that,
Ian
man.
just banged straight in there.
Efficient as hell.
If only America had a leader who could just make decisions that quickly. Anyway, I don't want to go into politics because it would get too carried away.
America aren't allowed in. He's ours.
I will make one kind of counterpoint. Ian, I think he is right. I have went early with Eddie Howe, but if you look at Eddie Howe and Bobby Robson's kind of time, Robson came in when we were down there and kept us up. Howe came in when we were down there and kept us up. Robson then got us into the Champions League. Howe then got us into the Champions League. Howe did fall out a little bit before Robson, but I think their career paths in terms of just managing Newcastle are very identical, so that's why I put Howe in there. Anyway, our second advert.
Sorry, Kev, you've just made me think again. We've got to put Keegan in there. He came in when we were third bottom in the Championship and took us up to 12 points clear at Easter or whatever it was when we didn't win the Premier League.
Keegan.
Well, this is why I put Keegan in. This is who I grew up with.
This is why I said I wasn't going to do it, because we spent 3 minutes trying to do it and we still haven't got a four.
Not Moncur. Keegan comes in as a fourth one.
There it is. We're done.
Well done, King Kev. And he's got a great first name. So, Ian, American Cowboy. I definitely want an advert. I need an advert before this episode finishes.
I know.
Right. This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day. Y'all.
Y'all. That's a brilliant advert.
Y'all.
Well done. Well read. Right. It is Wildcard Wednesday. It's my favourite time of the week. Every single week. I love Wildcard Wednesday because we just go off track and it just makes for... I just enjoy it. I really enjoy it. So it's a quiz, obviously Wildcard Wednesday, but it's a bit of a twist. It has a massive American influence on this. And there's only 3 questions, mainly because we've run out of time, so I've cut 2 of them. But there's only 3
other 2 after the pod.
I feel like you can get extra points with some of them, right? So we'll start very basic. This is just a complete guesswork. If you get this right, it's probably put the lottery on if you get this right. First question. Which state has the most registered American state, obviously? Which state has the most registered Newcastle United fans?
Blimey.
Right, well, I'm just going to go with the state I used to live in, so Maryland.
Maryland?
Joe, that's a tiny little state with no population.
You've got no idea,
I'm going to go California. California.
Ooh, the correct answer is Florida. Florida has the most registered
I'm on
Newcastle fans. No points because there's plenty of points up for grabs. So, next question. We've had only, and I can't believe this, had a double, triple check this. We've only ever had 3 American players play for Newcastle United. Mind-boggling.
I can only think of one.
How many can you name? And you'll get a point for each. So I'm going to go to Ian first because Joe definitely has 1. And we'll just go one at a time. So Ian, you go first.
Which I'm hoping is the same one Joe's got, is DeAndre Yedlin.
DeAndre Yedlin, 1 point. Yeah. Joe, have you got another one?
That's exactly that's the only one I know.
I would have got 2. I would never have got the third. But I would have got the second one. War number 15. Played under Glenn Roeder, I think.
He's a goalie, isn't he? There's a goalie.
No, big centre half. His debut, he marked John Carew because they were both like 6'6".
American.
Big centre half. War number 15.
Don't say any more. We had him on loan.
Correct.
What's he called?
Oh, this is tough. Who's going to get it first? Do you want me initials?
Do you know it all, Joe? Yeah, give us the initials.
I don't.
Double
You
O.
just double
Pardon?
O.
Double O.
Oh, yeah. It's
I'm waiting for Ian to butcher this.
Oneyu.
You
Something like
weren't
that.
far off. Yeah, Eguchi Onyewu. Played under Glenn
Yeah, I
Roeder.
wasn't going to get that.
Yeah, big centre half. Now the third one you're not going to get. I wouldn't have got. He's called Parkinson. Played in the 70s, I think. American. Went to Peterborough
Oh,
after
well,
us.
yeah,
So
that's no chance.
2-0 Ian. But there's a lot of
How's it 2-0?
Because you got two. You got Onyewu and Yedlin.
But you didn't even get... I literally put my finger in the air because I wanted to say Yedlin.
Sorry,
That's
Joe.
it. I've
Life
just got
sucks
ripped off.
sometimes.
I'm
Next
not
question.
playing.
Next question. You can get loads and you can go first here. Players who have played for Newcastle United and played in the MLS. So we'll go Joe first this time.
No, I'm
to
not
keep
playing.
Joe happy.
Ian, go first.
Right. And
No.
we'll just list them off. So,
DeAndre
Joe.
Yedlin.
DeAndre Yedlin, 1 point.
Yeah.
Ian.
Miguel Almiron.
Correct. 3-1. Joe.
Don't want to play anymore. I don't know.
You don't know?
I can't think. Man.
You literally
No,
played for us about 2 years ago. It was 15 overall. It was 15 players.
15?
I
15
think
that have played.
I've actually heard of every single one of them because the MLS was obviously created quite late.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I've probably heard of them, but I just can't think. I'm not going to lie. I can't think of people who have played.
I'm thinking of Paul Cannell.
I haven't got him on the list. Might not have been
Right,
with MLS at that time.
I can honestly only think of Miggy and DeAndre.
Let's start rocking through them. Next, number 9. Took the number 9 shirt after Alan Shearer. Played for Seattle.
See, I don't follow the MLS at all.
Oh, I've really picked her wrong.
Yeah.
Did flips when he scored.
Have you got another question? Martins?
Nope. Yes, Femi Martins. Yeah.
Thanks. The flips got me.
Hanging on in. One player scored on his debut against Man United about 3-4 seasons ago under Steve Bruce.
Matty
Longstaff. Yeah, he's there right now. Another player is, you've already said him in terms of the American you haven't said who played for Newcastle.
Winnie thingy.
Close. Eguchi Onyewu. Good effort. No offense caused there at all. Another one. Striker we had on loan from Man United. Italian. He actually wore number 15 as well.
What was that fella called? What was he called?
Little guy. He actually looked really good when he played for us, but never really went on big things. Played for Villarreal. Did quite well for them.
No.
He played for Sunderland as well, didn't he?
Giuseppe Rossi.
Rossi, that's right.
Yeah.
Rossi.
I think
another one who put the ball in the Mackham's net. Not Alexander Isak before that.
Surely.
Anyone will do.
Ryan Taylor.
Didn't play me MLS. Anybody will do. Irish. Champions League team. Played alongside Bramble.
Boom song.
Number 5. Didn't play the Champions League. Number 5.
Sorry, I was just saying it because he
Robson
said Bramble.
Loved him.
Did you say Ryan Taylor?
Scored against Sunderland, I think. He might not have.
I know who he is. He looks too small to be a centre half. Northern Irish. Northern Irish?
Nah, Republic
Irish. Same odds.
I might be wrong. It might have been Liam who scored, and this one's Andy.
Andy
O'Brien playing in minutes. Anyway, we'll cut it there. Just the full list for the listeners who have probably been shouting, the ones who are in America right now. Almiron, Longstaff, Yedlin, Onyewu, CM De Jong, Tony Cagg, ex-goalkeeper, Steve Howie played in the MLS, Darren Huckabee, Didier Domi, Laurent Robert had one season there, a player who did play for Newcastle and Sunderland, Patrick Van Aanholt, Andy O'Brien, Stephen Caldwell, Giuseppe Rossi, and Obafemi Martins. There were 15 players who played for Newcastle and played in the MLS.
Well,
that was a full list. Ian wins. It was a poor quiz, but I tried to keep it American based, and we didn't really show. We didn't show enough knowledge for our American listeners. They're going to be disappointed.
I think I had already established myself as the Ginger Ninja Slayer.
I'm not
It's just
taking that one. Like,
well
I
done,
can
Ian.
take a loss.
Well
But
done,
when
Ian.
I put my finger up first,
Joe,
You
man,
did.
you're
I'm
worse
for
than
the
Arsenal
question.
fans. The ball was out of play. It was
I'm
3
just
years
saying.
ago. Move on.
It's all
Well
right.
done, Ian. Fantastic win. But Ginger Ninja Slayer strikes again. We have just
All
lost
right.
all of our American listeners in the last 36 minutes. So hopefully
True.
we can get you back with the next couple of episodes. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. There is slightly less episodes this week because of the international break, but I think we're back with Ian for a preview of the England games next. Thank you very much for listening. Been a pleasure. See you next time.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.